We all expected them to go in there, and Kentucky's down this year to win. So, and they represented the conference good. So, that just lets you know how difficult it is to beat a 1A opponent.
Eastern Kentucky wins over Tennessee State and Richmond 33-22.
Eastern Kentucky is very dangerous right now. I'm kind of glad I wish we'd played them early, but we get them the last part of the year, the last game of the year. But they're running the ball extremely well right now. So, I hadn't seen them on tape that much because we hadn't caught them in a change, but they're putting up a lot of points lately.
And then a game we're going to talk about a little later. Let's go ahead and talk about Southeast Missouri winning over Austin Peay 17-13.
Defensive game, kind of ugly. Austin Peay's quarterback went down in the third quarter, and they had to play their backup guy, so they couldn't throw. They didn't throw the ball, but for about 90 yards. The problem, the dangerous thing of Southeast Missouri is they've got the best pressure quarterback in the league. And what I mean by that, if it gets down to a one-score game or a third-down conversion for them to win the game, he's the guy in the league you want at quarterback. You want the ball in his hand because he can run the football, and you don't know if he's going to throw it or he's going to run it, and then he's an option threat on top of that. So it's a very, he's a senior. He's got a lot of, snaps under his belt, and so I'll be glad when he graduates.
UT Martin's had to take on Southeast Missouri on Saturday. Let me mention a couple times here that game time has been moved to 2 in the afternoon, originally scheduled for 2:30. That's at 2 Saturday. We'll talk more about that in a minute. Coach, I was doing my crack research here and the OVC coaching records, and I was going to congratulate you. In OVC games, you have the third highest win percentage of any coach in the Ohio Valley Conference. And overall, you're number 2. You're 28-16 in 6 years in the OVC. That's a 636 win percentage, 36-28 overall at 563. Out of curiosity, and you may have seen this, do you know who's number 1? Do you know who the number 1 person will be?
Is it active?
Yeah, active. And I'll let you see.
That's got to be Crow, huh?
Yeah, Jack Crow is at 776 at 52-15 in the OVC. That surprised me. That's an amazing number.
Well, you got to remember when they first came in the league,
they dominated.
Yeah. And so the league's kind of caught back up, and now that they're added on that, that stadium, they're starting to separate themselves again. So that's very concerning. But who was second there?
Second would be Coach Hood at Eastern Kentucky, and that's only his 4th year.
Right.
So he doesn't have the number of years that you have.
Right.
You.
Well, like I said, that's that's a credit to a lot of people, and you being one of them, and administration, and a lot of good players. But it's very difficult, because we're sitting here at 4-3, and 3-2 in the conference, and you got 3 conference games left, and so mathematically you got a chance to get 6-2 and be a successful season. But boy, there's a lot of football between now and then, and it's, as you know, they're all 3 of them will be fourth quarter games.
Absolutely, and that's the way it has been. What's amazing, and we talked about this a little bit with Eastern Illinois, Coach Spoo is 143 and 129 overall. He's coached 50 years, I think 25 at Eastern. We talked about that in our pregame show. But you mentioned something that I thought was neat. Even on his homecoming, you got a chance to visit with him prior to the game?
I did, Chris, and it was very humbling, very neat because, normally, you have to pay him the compliments. Mm-hmm. I mean, and your job is to set the program up and make us look good. There you go.
I like you, Coach.
Well, and I appreciate that. You're good at what you do, but Coach Fu doesn't. He didn't. And so, and as I go to do the tradition, pregame, how you doings and stuff, he grabbed and said, "Hey, I just want to tell you, it's been a pleasure coaching against you and your team." And he just talked about the improvements in the last 6 years to our program. We're 4-2 against Eastern Illinois.
Yeah.
And they've won the league 3 of those 6 years. We've been here. They've won the league. I think 06, 09, for sure 2. And I think there's a third year somewhere, maybe 07.
Oh, it was 07.
So 6, 7, and 9.
Yeah.
So they've had some pretty good teams, and we beat them 4 out of the 6 years. And to have a man that doesn't, he doesn't
say much either.
He doesn't say a whole lot, and he's very talkative, and I was very appreciative of his confidence in our program. And I said, "Well, Coach, what are you going to do now?" He said, "I've been coaching 50 years. My wife's retiring this year. I don't know." And I said, "Well, if you ever, got 3 days, I could bring you down to Martin and just pick your brain, just about not X's and O's, because he doesn't even wear a headset anymore." he's like Paterno. He doesn't wear a headset. He's involved in the day-to-day operations and the direction that the program's going in. And, I would just love to be able to pick his brain. And he said, hey, all I know is here. I've been here so long now. That's all I know. So, but it was neat. It was very humbling and very appreciative.
Yeah, what a compliment, too, because he's in recognizing you, he's telling you you're on his level, I think, and that's got to mean the world to you.
Well, and I won't say, necessarily me, but our program is on his program's level, and I appreciate that course. And I wish we could get ourselves in the playoffs as many times as he's been there, or just another time would be be exciting. But I'm not going to say we've arrived by any means, but for a man that I respect and don't know very well, I was certainly appreciative.
What amazes me, too, is looking at the OVC, how many years you've been in the league compared to the other coaches, and now you're one of the veterans.
I know, 6 years now. And I saw where Watson Brown signed a new 4-year deal.
Oh, did he? Okay.
Which will put him coaching until he's like 64 there.
Yeah, he's been coaching for 27 years. This is his 5th year at Tennessee Tech.
That's a long time. Christopher been with him a long time. I guess I'm relatively myself and Hatcher are the youngest two coaches still in the league, but yet I think Hatch has been a head coach like 10 years. He was about Austin for about 6. So I guess I still got the least amount of head coaching experience. Is that what it says?
Yeah,
right? Dean Hood's only been,
Yeah, Dean's been there for 4 years. You've at UT Martin for 6. But, overall, Coach Reed at Tennessee State. So
okay, well, good. I've bypassed somebody. I'm not the youngest guy anymore.
So, of all the coaches in the OVC, and I'm looking at the list, whom are you closest to?
It's kind of funny because you just don't have time to pick up the phone and call anybody.
Mm-hmm.
You just don't. And, and I've never worked with any of those guys. I played for Watson and I played for Rick, but sometimes beating up on each other, you respect each other. But
you don't want to be friends.
Yeah,
really.
Because there's not. Yeah. Now, if I picked up the phone and called one of them and asked a question, they would answer me. But during the season, you just don't do that because – Tech wants to win the conference championship too. So if I call and say, "Hey, tell me about so and so's offense," he's going to be like, "Well, Jason, we kind of want you to lose because we need to win." So it's just kind of a courtesy. You don't do that. Of course, I kid with Jack all the time. Any more of my coaches that you want to hire?
Well,
and so you want me to train any more for you. And he's good about it. He laughs jokingly because he knows there's a business for it, and he's got to do what's best for him, and other guys do too. But it's kind of neat. It is. Everybody's cordial. Everybody's but fights hard for their program and their coaches.
Do you ever get together in a room? Are you all ever together at the same time?
Twice a year and it's kind of funny because everybody's respectful. I would like to see what it's like to be in there when you got Saban and Spurrier.
Oh.
And it used to be really funny when Danny Hope from EKU was in there because he was at Purdue now because it was neat and always set by Danny because you could get him fighting for he would fight for the cause.
Yeah.
and very passionately. And it was awesome because, and I was, whether he's fighting for EKU or Purdue or Notre Dame, he was very passionate about it. So that used to always be a kick to me. And Coach Spoo sat on the other side. Didn't say a whole lot. Never spoke. If I asked him a question, he went beside that, just very gentlemanly. But I don't know. It just over the years, it's gone by so fast, and I kind of like it though. And of course, Phil Dane comes. We have some meetings with ADs are there. And it's kind of funny because, Phil and I got a great relationship, and, we'll talk openly in front of people about our program or the OVC. And you'll see some coaches, though, they won't say a word when their AD's in there. And then when their AD's gone, they're Joe Idea.
Joe Idea.
About everything. So that's kind of funny to see.
And I think that a lot of the controversy that goes on in the bigger conferences is created by the media.
No, it is.
I mean, really, they stir it up because the more they stir it up, the more they can put on the front page. The more they put on the front page, the more they sell.
No, you're right, because at the end of the day, that everybody in the room is trying to make their program the best they can. They're trying to feed families. They're trying to represent their school. So, there's some mutual respect, no doubt about it.
We'll take a break. We'll come back and talk about Southeast Missouri and then wrap things up from Snappy Tomato Pizza here on the Skyhawk Sports Network.